Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and this is my detailed review, dyno test, and drive of the MPT Livewire TS Plus loaded with 3 custom MPT tunes, available for your 2015 and newer 5-liter F-150. Now, the MPT Livewire combination is going to be for the F-150 owners out there looking for more than just a canned or preloaded tune and would like a premium experience with a custom tune along with a very cool and capable device in the Livewire TS Plus. Now, this is essentially going to allow you to get the most out of your truck with all of its current modifications, along with future modifications as well, thanks to MPT's free tune revisions. Now guys, the MPT Livewire combination is going to be a large investment, but hopefully by the end of this video, you'll see why it's money well spent. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why you might want to go with the MPT tunes along with the custom Livewire device over some of your other options available here at AmericanMuscle.com. We're also going to talk about the power improvements over stock, your fuel economy benefits, and of course the drivability, including transmission settings and throttle response. So hang out with me, grab a snack, because we're going to walk you through the Livewire device here itself. We're even going to hop in the 5-liter truck with the MPT tune later. But first, let's talk about what kind of power improvements you can expect when using this combo. Now, before we even pulled the truck onto the dyno, we replaced our big, heavy aftermarket 35s with the factory wheel and tire setup just to get the most accurate results on our dyno jet. We then established some baseline numbers using our factory calibration. We then uploaded the 87 octane MPT tune, ran the truck, and got some numbers there. We then drained all that 87 octane, filled it up with 93 octane, uploaded the corresponding MPT tune, re-ran the truck, and here are all those results. Our baseline run using our 2015 5-liter F-150 gave us 278 horsepower and 316 pound-feet of torque at the rear wheels. With MPT's 87 octane performance economy tune uploaded, the truck made 278 horsepower, 330 pound-feet of torque. With our 93 octane PRX tune uploaded, the truck made 293 horsepower and 340 pound-feet of torque. So with MPT's 87 octane performance economy tune, the gains were small as expected, gaining 0 peak horsepower and 14 pound-feet of torque peak, while the under the curve gains were a little bit better at 14 horsepower and 20 pound-feet of torque. With the 93 octane PRX tune uploaded, the numbers really came to life. We gained 15 horsepower and 24 pound-feet of torque peak, along with 30 horsepower and 27 pound-feet of torque under the curve. All right guys, breaking down the graph a little bit here with the MPT custom tunes. Now the peak and curve gains tell 2 totally different stories. Even though the 87 octane tune didn't really pick up a whole lot when it comes to peak power, curve gains are still pretty impressive given the lower octane. Now you can see here our green number is our 87 octane, or our green line, and the red line is our baseline pool. And you can see the green has a solid gain over the red baseline number pretty much throughout the entire curve. The blue line, however, our 93 octane PRX tune, made a ton of power all over the place here. I felt this driving the truck all week long. The truck just felt very, very healthy. And these are some of the biggest gains we've seen out of any of the truck tuners available here at AmericanMuscle.com. Now this is pretty obvious because the 93 octane tune usually allows for more ignition timing, a slightly more aggressive tune, things like that, and that's why you're going to see these bigger numbers. They do offer you some different options, including their towing, economy, and race tunes available for each different octane level. So again, as you can see, the tunes are definitely doing their job. So what do you say we get up to the table and break down the tune a little further? In addition to the engine calibration, MPT also gives you the option of going with their transmission tunes or transmission tweaks, or if you like, you can leave the transmission totally untouched if you prefer how your factory trans shifts now. Take my word for it, guys, go with the full treatment. The MPT tweaks with the trans is definitely awesome, and I'll go over more of this when we go for a drive later on. Speaking of driving, I've been pounding the pavement with the MPT Tune 5-liter truck here for the last week, just to get a sense of what this thing's all about, but also to see how our fuel economy fared. Now, full disclosure, all of the tuners or tunes I've tested all improved over the factory miles per gallon in some way, shape, or form, whether it be the MPT tunes, SET preloads, or the Edge or Super Chips preloads. Now, it's been my experience that the MPT custom tune fell right in the middle of the SET preloads and the Edge and Super Chip preloads in regards to miles per gallon. Now guys, with my drive to work, I see a little bit of highway use, I see a little bit of back roads, and with the factory calibration on 87 octane, I was seeing anywhere from 11 to 12 miles per gallon. Keep in mind our truck's lifted 6 inches, we have 35s on there, and I've got a rather heavy foot. Now with the PRX tune uploaded from MPT on 93 octane, I was seeing anywhere from 13 to 13.5, even 14 miles per gallon using this tune, using the same driving style and route. Now guys, I do want to quickly point out that MPT's 93 octane tunes, whether it be their Performance Economy, Performance Extreme, or Performance Towing, all made the same amount of power on our Dyno Jet at wide open throttle using that 93 octane fuel. The small changes come during the part throttle cruising part of the calibration. So essentially that Performance Economy tune, it's going to use a very mild calibration off the throttle or even part throttle while shifting you into those higher gears much faster, getting you that best fuel economy possible. So guys, you're getting the best of both worlds here. You're getting the fuel economy when you want it, but you also have the power on tap to merge onto the highway or pass on the highway when needed. On the topic of price, guys, you are going to be dropping a sizable chunk of change with the MPT loaded Livewire TS Plus, but keep in mind you're getting a custom tune and you're getting a feature-loaded premium device. And since this is a custom tune, if you add those custom modifications down the road, whether it be intake, headers, exhaust, or even intake manifolds, you'll be able to do so and get free tune revisions from MPT for future modifications, as long as you don't go too crazy with forced induction or something like that. So now that you know a little bit more about the MPT custom tunes, why don't we hop in the truck and then we'll go for a spin. All right guys, so we're out in our 2015 5-liter F-150. I have the MPT 93 octane PRX tune installed or uploaded. It's my favorite tune. It's the one I wanted to drive again. I did drive some of their other tunes, but out of all the tunes I tested, the MPT tunes were by far and away my favorite tunes for the 5-liter truck. They offered the biggest gains, the biggest difference in drivability, and the power is just, I mean, you get on this thing, it's heavy. It's got the 35s, they're lifted 6 inches. The transmission settings are simply out of this world. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about the tunes themselves. Just leaving a red light. The truck gets you in a second instantly, and then it just puts you right in the power band. So no matter where you are on the road, if you're on the highway, if you're on the back roads, just the slightest input in throttle will get you to downshift the gear, just like I did there. I mean, I didn't have to really give it half throttle, 3/4 throttle, and the truck reacted. No, I gave it the smallest input, and the throttle response is probably some of the best I've driven here with the 5-liter truck. Now, some of you guys might like that. Some of you guys might like a truck that shifts a lot because it's always putting you in the power band. On the other hand, some of you guys might not. And if that's the case, again, MPT does give you that option. You can leave all your stock transmission settings pretty much the same. You can leave the factory transmission calibration in the truck, but go with more of their power stuff, and that's totally an option. You can definitely do that. But again, take my advice. I've driven a lot of these tunes, and the transmission settings from the factory with these 5-liter trucks, or with any of the F-150s for that matter, are just a little soft, and they leave a lot to be desired, especially when you're on the highway and you want to downshift or you want to pass. You know you basically got to put this thing to the floor to get it to do anything. Not the case with MPT. Again, you give it half throttle, and there we go. We're down 2 gears already, and we're moving along pretty quickly. So again, huge gains in both torque and horsepower. The biggest we saw out of all the tunes we tested here at AM for the 5-liter to this day. And it's really to no surprise, right? Custom tunes, they're just going to be a better, more refined product. You're gonna see bigger gains because you're getting a tune essentially custom tailored for your ride. But even with this, even with our stock truck essentially, just with the lift and everything, we still saw, again, the biggest gains in horsepower and torque, the biggest curve gains. So if you're towing, you know, or if you just like beating on your truck occasionally, the MPT is gonna offer you the best bang for your buck. Now, sure, they're gonna be a little bit more essentially when it comes to the overall price tag, depending on your device, but you're getting a better product, guys. That's the really only way I can put it. I gotta be blunt about it. Sure, the preloads are nice, but overall, for a little bit extra, you're getting a lot more of a product, and I really can't stress that enough when going with a custom tune. For a big old heavy truck, it definitely gets out of its own way now with the MPT tunes. And even with the economy tune, even with the towing tune, again, I told you guys in the overview, wide open throttle using the same octane, the truck is gonna make the same number. Basically, wide open throttle, the dyno results, the power is all gonna be there. However, the PRX tune, it just feels more sporty. Now, granted, I drive a Mustang once in a while too, so maybe that's why I'm such a fan of the PRX tune. But personally, if I were to drive this thing every day, I'd probably leave it in the economy tune, the performance economy tune, because you're getting the best miles per gallon when it comes to all of their tunes, but you're also getting the power when you want it. From the performance down to the drivability, down to the transmission settings, I really love these things. I can't say enough good stuff about them, as you can tell. So let's head back to the shop and I'll walk you through the Livewire TS Plus device. Now on the surface, guys, a very large and attractive 4-inch full-color touchscreen LCD display. Only the Edge CTS2 has a beat in screen size with a 5-inch screen. You're also getting a suction cup mount here for the windshield, and you're also getting rear camera support that should work with most aftermarket rear cameras. Now, even though most modern F-150s come standard with a backup camera, you can always think outside of the box, get a little creative here, maybe throw a camera on the front of your rig to help with parking. The Livewire should be able to help you with that as well, but just something to think about. Now guys, there's really no way to get a sense of what this thing can do without plugging it in, so why don't we hop in the truck, we'll plug in the Livewire, walk you through the operation and the tuning process. Now, as we mentioned earlier, this thing does have rear camera support, and you can see that right in the middle there. So if you were to hook that up maybe to a rear camera, or if you wanted to put a camera up front like I talked about earlier, basically you'd access that by just pressing the button in the middle. So we're gonna save the Program Vehicle tab for last, and we'll start with some of the other basic operation of the Livewire TS. And this thing is a monitor, basically meaning you can read, display, and monitor a bunch of useful information from your rig at any point and display it here. So why don't we start with that, because I think that's probably the coolest feature of the Livewire TS Plus, and it's very attractive. Again, we're talking about a full color LCD touchscreen here, 4-inch display. So here's our basic screen, starting out with the gauges or the layouts. Pretty simple stuff. It's displaying 3 different values right now. We have our air-fuel ratio here in the gauge format, and the 2 digital readouts are basically intake air temperature and our coolant temperature. Now you can change these things to display a number of different things, again, all from your truck's ECU at any point. So we're into one of the gauges here, and as you can see, there's a ton of stuff you can choose from. So we'll just kind of scroll through some of them. Intake air temperature, fuel trim, things like that, air fuel ratio, of course, which is a biggie. And again, all this stuff is fully customizable when it comes to layout. We'll go back to those layouts real quick and I'll show you some of the different options there. We're looking at 12 different values on the screen here, which is very impressive. You know, when you get the numbers this small, they might be a little hard to read on the fly, but you do have that option, of course. And you can data log at any point with this thing as well. It's very easy to do. So we'll go to the performance test. Now this is something the X4 doesn't have. And here you can measure your 0 to 60, your quarter-mile time, and your braking distance. Very, very nice to have, I guess. You know, if you're into that sort of thing and you want to actually try to measure the improvements that the tunes are making, the Livewire TS will give you that option. Let's talk about vehicle functions here with the Livewire. We'll go into that, and this is basically your diagnostic tool. This is where you're gonna go when it comes time to read and clear those diagnostic trouble codes, better known as check engine lights. In addition to the read and clearing of the check engine lights, you can also go to special functions. And this is where you can go to do a cam reset, which is a keep alive memory, or do a crank relearn if you ever encounter a misfire, something like that. We'll go to the next page here. Again, more useful stuff, vehicle info. This is where you can read and learn your strategy code for your ECU. Bunch of useful stuff here. Device settings, this is just your basic menu. It's gonna give you some options of how you wanna lay this thing out as far as theme, your brightness, ambient light sensor, basically having it auto dim for you if you'd like, turning off the beeps if you'd like, ignition key check, power save mode. Basically, if you leave this thing plugged in at all times, you'll leave it in your truck, go to the power save mode. You're gonna leave it in the auto feature. That's what we have. Basically, this is just gonna ensure it doesn't drain your battery. Startup function's pretty cool because this is where you can have it kind of default to where you want it to go whenever you start your rig. Personally, me, I leave it in the gauges and data log screen because that's what I wanna see. I wanna see the gauges every time I hop in the truck, and I don't wanna have to fumble through the different menus to get there. So to be able to start it up on that is pretty cool. You can have it also start up on the performance gauges if you'd like as well. Device info, pretty basic stuff here. Just tells you what version of your firmware you're on, obviously the device itself. And keep in mind, guys, this thing is wireless, so when you do need to do your updates for the SCT Livewire Plus, you can do so wirelessly as long as you're within range of an Wi-Fi network. So it's just something that makes it a little easier to operate and to update, because updating your tuner is something you will have to do rather frequently. Pretty cool stuff here. As you can see, there's a lot of options to choose from. The display itself is very nice. Touchscreen's nice. It can be a little touchy at one point or a little finicky, but for the most part, after you use this thing once in a while, you get the hang of it. So now we're on the Program Vehicle tab here with the MPT tunes already loaded up for us. As you can see, we have our 93 octane economy, the performance towing, and the PRX, which is a performance extreme tune. That's the one I really enjoyed. So we'll go ahead and load that one in for you guys. Very simple stuff again here. If you've never loaded a tune before in your truck, 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. It really doesn't get any easier than this, guys. It's gonna take you about 15 to 20 minutes to flash your truck for the first time, but it does get a little quicker after that. Now, even though this is a custom tune, it does give you the option to change some things here, which is nice. You can go into the tire size, for instance. We do have 35s on this thing, so we're gonna go ahead and load those in here accordingly. And this is just gonna ensure that our speedometer is entirely accurate, you know, all that stuff as well here, the fuel mileage, things like that. So we should be good to go there. Everything else, it looks good to me, so from this point on, we'll approve it. We'll go ahead and proceed with the flashing process. And then from here, we should be good to go. So that's my review of the MPT custom tunes loaded on the Livewire TS Plus device that you guys can learn more about right here at AmericanMuscle.com.